On October 3rd, 2013, Ecuador's National Assembly authorized the project to drill for oil in the Yasuní National Forest, which is a biosphere reserve and home of endemic tribes and unique animal species. It is estimated by the Ecuadorian government that in that area there are around 920 million barrels of crude oil. The original proposal, called Yasuni-ITT, came from the good living or sumac causai, an ideology that has been a fundamental component of Ecuador's revolutionary process. Alberto Acosta explained the concept of good living.
El tema de pensar en el buen vivir, el summa causae, término en quichua, que es una forma diferente para entender el desarrollo, que por ahí pasa la solución de los problemas del mundo que tú me mencionaste inicialmente, todo lo que tiene que ver con la crisis energética, la crisis alimentaria, la crisis ambiental, la crisis social y económica, pasa por replantearnos las formas de vida. Ese es el buen vivir, vivir en armonía con nosotros mismos, los ciudadanos, las ciudadanas, con nosotros mismos, con nuestras familias, con las comunidades, con todos los habitantes del país y de la tierra, pero en armonía, y esto es fundamental, en armonía del ser humano con la naturaleza. Basta de tratar de dominar a la naturaleza.
The Yasuni-ITT initiative could have been beneficial for the planet in many ways, preventing the release of an estimate of 400 million tons of CO2 into the atmosphere, further warming the planet, preserving the unique biosphere and the tribal peoples' millennial culture, developing a new all-green energy initiative, bringing with it the social and economical benefits of such a large task, preserving the forest and planting new trees in areas devastated by logging, turning the settlers from unsustainable crops to organic sustainable ones. President Correa has taken credit for the initiative many times, but according to journalist Joan Martinez Alier, writing for ALAI, radical ecological groups like Acción Ecológica and Oil Watch should get the credit for conceiving the original proposal. He details that Alberto Acosta, then Minister of Energy, passed it to Correa, who decided to support it. Esperanza Martinez from Acción Ecológica confirmed to us that it was Oil Watch, the organization responsible for the original draft, back in 2005. A first negotiation commission was formed, led by Roque Sevilla, a successful tourism entrepreneur, along with many other respected figures in a number of fields. This initiative, called Yasuni-ITT, did gather international attention. The UNDP, the United Nations Development Program, and the German Parliament committed to the effort, as long as there were clear audits to prevent corruption, a common practice in the past Ecuadorian administrations. For that, an agreement with the UNDP was to be signed. The UN Development Agency was to co-manage the fund, where donors will have deposited the money. The date was set, November 9, 2009, in Copenhagen, Denmark. Not only Germany, but Spain, Belgium, Sweden, France, and many others were among the list of possible donors. On November 5, 2009, 4 days before the signature of the pre-treaty, President Rafael Correa canceled the trip to Denmark and prohibited its signature. Sevilla and almost every other top negotiator resigned after a speech by the president, where he called the conditions to supervise the spending of the money shameful and an affront to Ecuador's sovereignty. On 2010, an oil and energy reform law was passed, forcing all 24 contracts to be renegotiated. Half of the companies opted out of the country. So private energy companies were not prone to help Ecuador in its green initiative. The political implications of this are considerable, especially added to the obvious breakdown in the negotiations with UNDP and European countries. As a result of the conditions Correa's new team brought forward, with no oversight on the spending of the money donated, only $13.3 million were deposited by August 2013. Finally, on August 15, 2013, Correa proposed the exploitation for oil in the Yasuní.
Hace ya más de 6 años, con la mayor alegría, entusiasmo y tal vez con no poca ingenuidad, presentamos al mundo la iniciativa Yasuní-ITT. No era caridad lo que pedíamos, era corresponsabilidad en la lucha contra el cambio climático, siendo el principal contribuyente el pueblo ecuatoriano, puesto que Ecuador es un contaminador marginal y, sin embargo, con la propuesta sacrificaba 3.600 millones de dólares en renta petrolera. La compensación exigida tenía una perfecta lógica ambiental y económica. Constituía un justo pago por la generación de bienes ambientales. Sin la selva amazónica, principal pulmón del mundo, probablemente la vida en el planeta desaparecería. No obstante aquello, los países amazónicos no recibimos nada a cambio por ese fundamental bien para la vida. La propuesta pretendió despertar las conciencias del mundo y generar una nueva realidad, bajar de la retórica a los hechos, exigiendo la corresponsabilidad de la comunidad internacional en la lucha contra el calentamiento global. Lamentablemente, tenemos que decir que el mundo nos ha fallado.
This decision angered ecologists, students, indigenous and citizens in general, among which there are many former Korea's sympathizers, mainly educated middle class. While there had not been massive protest, many denounced police repression and official harassment and intimidation by the administration, which has also launched a massive media campaign favoring Yasuni's exploitation. President Correa accepted a popular vote on whether the Yasuni can be drilled for oil or not. Now the activists need to gather over 500,000 signatures to qualify for such process.
What I learned is the economic considerations are not the only considerations worth considering, worth taking. Right now we are talking about economics, we're not talking about environment and the people living in this environment. And we're not talking about their value, and we are not considering their true value. This cannot be measured in dollars. This cannot be measured, in economic terms.
According to Sedatus Gallup, on September 2013, while 76% of Ecuadorians approved the Yasuni-ITT initiative, only 36% believe the oil should be exploited in case the international community fails to donate the money. But by October, just 30 days later, 56% of Ecuadorians backed the president's decision. Despite popular support to the idea of drilling, intellectuals and scientists express worry. The scientific journal PLOS ONE recently published an open letter from 100 scientists from many different countries, expressing their concern for potential risk they believe the Yasuni and all of the life it contains face after this decision.
But there's always this 1% that can go wrong, and when it does go wrong, it can contaminate and can pollute hundreds and thousands of acres, especially because oil, once it gets into water, it can move very fast and pollute large areas that are almost impossible to clean up afterwards. So I think even though the technology may be there, the will for have a clean operation may be there, the statistics show that it's almost impossible to have an oil operation that's 100% free of contaminations.
In Ecuador's new constitution, constructed under Correa's first administration, in Article 57.7, it mandates a consultation with local communities before establishing any project that can impact the zone. On point 11, it forbids to displace any indigenous groups from their ancestral lands. There are many other precise regulations that normally will ban the oil drilling in the Yasuni National Park and World Biosphere Reserve. Father Miguel Ángel Cabo de Villa is perhaps the person who has spent more time with the Guarani. With more than 30 years working in the area, he has written many books about them.
Si Ecuador dice en serio lo que dice en la Constitución y el gobierno dice en serio lo que dice, la primera inversión que habría que hacer es en conocimiento. Es decir, ¿para qué sirven todas las leyes, todas las promesas, toda la palabrería, si no sabemos qué gente hay y qué gente no hay? ¿Cuánta hay, dónde está y cuáles son? Si no hemos hecho nunca un intento serio de conocimiento sobre todo eso, ¿no? Dicen los altos jefes petroleros, ¿nos pueden demostrar que hay pueblos no contactados en el 31? Le digo, señor, usted no ha leído la Constitución. Usted no ha leído la Constitución de su país. En la Constitución de su país hay una cosa que se llama presunción. Si se presume, no si se demuestra, si se presume que están ahí, no se puede ingresar. Eso dice su Constitución. Que ahora la Asamblea Nacional en 4 días, en 5 días, gente que no tiene absolutamente ninguna idea sobre el tema, decida si se puede o no se puede, cuando durante los últimos 6 años no se ha hecho ningún trabajo de investigación sobre la zona, de verdad, a mí me parece de un cinismo atroz.
The failure of this initiative points at an important issue of our times, the necessity to balance civilization's growth and the well-being and preservation of our planet and its biosphere. For the Real News, this is Oscar Leon.